And hello, everyone. Welcome to Xbox Ultimate Podcast. This is episode number 203. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. We're going to have some fun tonight. We got lots of awesome stuff to talk about. Xbox had a showcase yesterday. If you were here, you caught maybe the co-stream that we had earlier in the day when Xbox was doing their show. And what a show it was. I think it was actually really good. So we're going to talk quite a bit about that. I want to get 3-Bit's thoughts on it, going to get Fuzzy's thoughts on it. Obviously, we had Pong's thoughts yesterday as well, and we had some fun talking about that. But as well, we're going to have more discussions about other stuff coming later this year, including actually next week as well. So absolutely looking forward to having a great time tonight. Thank you all for being here again, all the speculators, all the people here hanging out in the chat. You guys rock. You help make the show go. Lots of awesome people here already, I see. But yeah, let's get into some intros as well. Hello to the one and only Fuzzy Belvedere. What's up, man?
What's up, everyone? Glad to be here with you guys. Man, this has been a pretty awesome week for gaming news and stuff. I know there were some changes that people talked about with Xbox Studios, but we got a nice partner showcase. We got some stuff as far as for the cloud service stuff, and man, some new games coming to Game Pass. Yeah, it's been pretty eventful, and this month in general has just been stacked with stuff. So we're going to definitely get into some of that stuff. But glad to be here with you guys. Man, so much to talk about.
Yeah, dude. Some horror themed games this week have been getting announced. Also, being talked about a lot. Actually, there's a lot of like events with horror games and all this other kind of stuff. And so I know you're kind of into some of that stuff because you've been traveling the world, going to horror shows. So it's probably a good month for the Fuzzy Belvedere family with that kind of stuff. Mr. Dagger himself, the one and only 3-Bit, joining the fray. What's up, dude? How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good.
You're coming through the webcam mic, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second.
It's okay. This is because we 3-Bit hopped in at the last minute before when we were all behind the scenes, and I didn't have a chance to check your mic, so I should have
Is it bad right
halted.
now?
No, you're great now.
Okay.
Perfect. Sound great. What's up, man?
Hey. I've been mostly working, but I did get a chance to check out the partner preview. So yeah, man, it's just been a busy week, but overall I've been in Starfield land. I've been playing the heck out of Starfield. I've finally been playing the DLC once I completed the game, and now I'm on New Game Plus. I guess it's 2 now. And really just enjoying it. Basically, what I was saying on I guess it was a FSP, was my job was to speed run my relationship with Andrea.
Andrasia. Yeah,
Andrasia. It was my job to speed run with Andrasia. Mostly because I can't spoil why too much on Starfield, but what happens. But let's New Game Plus, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted her to, because I knew the DLC was basically about her, where she comes from and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So I wanted to make sure I go into the DLC with decent experience, where maybe she has certain chat dialogue within the DLC. She has stuff to say. I just love that stuff. So
yeah.
Mostly been playing the DLC. It's surprisingly, I've been playing for 8 hours and I'm barely through. So I honestly can't see a lot of these people beating it so quick now that I'm in the DLC. But yeah, it's going good, man. I've been just working like crazy this week besides Starfield. And this shirt kind of looks like a Starfield shirt. Now
a little bit is pretty badass, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, good to be here.
Right on, dude. Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Psycho couldn't join us tonight. He's closing and opening again. Pong said he may be able to be here, but maybe coming through a little bit later as well. So we'll look forward to him if he's able to join the show. But yeah, man, it's been a good week. Like we had this partner preview show yesterday, and again, thanks for everybody who came out for our co-stream because you could be in a million different places watching the co-stream, but you choose to come hang out with us, which is absolutely awesome. We had a lot of amazing people in the chat watching with us, and it seemed like everybody was pretty damn happy with it. You know, as far as what they showed, this is not like supposed to be obviously like a huge summer showcase type event or anything like that. We already got that, right? We got that in the summer. Also, if there is any other bigger announcements, probably going to hold those for the Game Awards, right? Right around the corner. And then we also have had a Dev Direct this year. You had another partner preview earlier in this year as well. TGS, Gamescom. They've just been doing and showing up with everything this year. Xbox has. So I didn't know what to expect for partner preview. I was expecting maybe a couple surprises, maybe a couple Game Pass announcements, and you know, it kind of seemingly that's what we got. But I wasn't actually expecting the amount of new game reveals we got, and also stuff coming for 2025, coming straight into Game Pass from some of the partners as well, which was surprising. What was I want to get the Fuzzy's thoughts like overall for the partner preview. What was your biggest surprise yesterday for the partner preview show?
There were a couple, but Kronos is like the one that I didn't hear about or see coming, kind of thing. I knew that Bloober Team was working on something other than Silent Hill, but it seemed like it was, you know, further down the road. Like I didn't think they were simultaneously working on both, or maybe they were, you know, finishing up Silent Hill and then they go full bore with this one. But that one just caught me all off guard. And then the other, like the two highlights for me, I'll just get it out of the way real quick, was that and Mouse, the Mouse Detective one, which I've been kind of itching to do the pre-order on Steam, but it's like now I don't have to bother. So just seeing that's coming to console is awesome. It's I mean, sure, it's not like Cuphead or anything like that. It looks like it'll be a little easier or a little bit more mainstream, I guess you could say, than Cuphead. But I still had fun with Cuphead, and that was, you know, me not being the platformer per se, but it was still a fun time. Frustrating because I broke a controller early on, but you know, outside of that, I was just really, really pleased with what I saw at this showcase, and those were the two big standouts. But there was no low point for me with the showcase. Like I'm looking forward to each and every game that they showed. And if I was going to say one on the lower scale would be, and it's going to sound weird because I'm now more so into the Yakuza line, was the pirate one, but it looks like it's the same fun time of just beating people up or now slicing them up with dual wielding, you know, daggers or something type of deal. So yeah, it was a great showcase. The partner showcase definitely didn't let down. And you were talking about like horror themed games being shown. Yeah, this was a good showcase for that. Was it Phasmophobia or something like that is now coming to console and whatnot? Because I know that there was a bit of a delay on that, or some bad news about the delay for it, but still, yeah, just it was an awesome showcase or partner preview or however you want to phrase it, but it delivered better than what I even expected. Like the three titles they mentioned were there, but yeah, there were some nice games to look forward to, and some of which are coming to Game Pass day and date, like that Wuchang, was it Wuchang Fallen Feather? Like that one keeps getting or keeps looking better and better each time we see it. I'm hearing it's not supposed to be a full Souls like, but it is Souls like enough where probably you'll get frustrated with it as well. Yeah. But that it still looks cool and can't wait to play it. So yeah, it was an awesome show.
Yeah, that game was pretty awesome looking to me. It's one of those I'm gonna have to see how it plays and how it feels and how kind of like if I'm beating my head up against a wall too much, right? But it's one that I definitely want to play right when it comes out because it looks like it might be the game like that grabs me potentially just because of the speed of the combat. It's more fast paced. It reminds me more of an action game, but I know it's still it's still taking a lot of elements away from like Souls genre with the way the mechanics work with parry and all that stuff. It looked like or dodge maybe, but it also noticed a lot of like area effect spells and other things like that that might be a little different, right? So looking forward to giving that one a go. But yeah, it's just one of the few games that was announced for Game Pass at the show. And Game Pass is gonna be a big theme for this show because it just keeps delivering awesome stuff for me to play. And next year is even going to be crazier, but even this next month is going to be nuts. But overall, 3-bit, what's your surprise games for the partner preview yesterday?
Yeah, I had a couple. Kind of, I agree with Fuzzy with Chronos. I mean, that looked pretty interesting, and I really like the graphics and stuff that was showcased in there. It was interesting just to see Bloober Team here at the show. Also, we know that they've been kind of partnering with Sony with Silent Hill, but in the past, they've worked with Xbox for the Medium and stuff like that. So really just cool to see them here. And Chronos, I don't know. I wasn't expecting Bloober to be working on another game outside of like Silent Hill and stuff like that. Wheel World looked. I thought that would be like
a 3-bit game.
it is a 3-bit because I really like Dungeons of Hinterberg. I kind of have to go back and play some more of that, but I thought that would be like a DLC of that because it looked really similar. But that looks really interesting. It's something I will personally check out because it appealed to me. Just like aesthetically, thought it was just cool style. Blind Fire was one that kind of reminded me what a lot of people pictured Perfect Dark to be in terms of like aiming. Just at least in that first section of that trailer.
Yeah, it looked like it kind of.
Yeah, it had that sort of sway. There's a couple games like PC games trying that out. I can't remember what they're called, but there's that one that a lot of people looked at for a while where it basically looked like a realistic, like you're essentially I guess you're a cop and you're breaking into a warehouse, and then the
body cam footage stuff.
Yeah, that body cam game. I forgot what that's called, but it kind of.
They need to do a found footage horror game like that.
Yeah. I mean, Outlast was the closest, but yeah, they definitely need to do something
with
like
that movement though, like with like have the film over it, like you're it'd be interesting. Like that's what I would want out of a Blair Witch game. Speaking of Bloober did the Blair Witch game, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, but that's what I would want out of a game like that is like, hey, like your movements and everything are like so realistic. Anyway, keep going through it.
But yeah, what that just reminded me of, like I hope more games experiment with something like that, like that movement, because that was the first time. Like a lot of people thought that gameplay was fake because there's no way someone can move that realistically and kind of sway and stuff. But I feel like that could be something for the FPS genre because FPS genre experiments in other ways, but that could just be another thing that pushes it to the next level. And how funny would it be if Yakuza had better ship combat than like Skull and Bones? I think that would be really, really funny. That was another surprise for me. I don't know. I wasn't expecting that to be at this show, and it looks really fun. Like it looked like there's a lot to do in it, which is kind of a staple in Yakuza games. Like if you guys ever tried out a Yakuza game, there's just so much to do. Like you can go bowling. You could. I remember. For hours I would play Yakuza Kiwami 2, I think it was, and I was like, wow, I've been playing this game for like 5-6 hours and I'm just doing the RC car races. Like you can go in the city and just challenge like little kids to RC car, and you can like upgrade your RC car, and it's so extensive, and I'm like, what the heck, it's like a game inside of the game. Which is, credit to the Yakuza franchise. And then, there's a lot. That was just like the ones off the top of my head. But the Mouse PI one, like I love that style, where it's like the hand-drawn Cuphead type look. That just looks sick. So Yeah, those are the ones that immediately stood out to me. But overall, it was a surprisingly, not too surprisingly, like that team over there, Tina Amini. I've worked with them, and they are super talented. Like we've seen it here in this show, we've seen it in other shows. Like they know how to do presentation for games very well, and I feel like it showed here. Like you can kind of picture or reference this show versus the Sony show, which was also a third-party show for the most part. I feel like it was presented way better. But they both had the same goal, which is to show third-party their relationship with third-party. Yeah.
Your mic like disappeared.
Oh,
I don't know if it's like you hit something or what. Like it's let's say something.
Something. Is it back?
Okay, yeah, it's back.
Yeah, it's back.
That was weird. I don't know what happened.
I actually have, now that I'm here.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat, I've been having this really random issue, right?
Okay.
Where I hear people speaking through my speaker, random people, like, like it's like it sounds like it's a radio show or a military broadcast or something. I don't know if people are coming for. I don't know, but all I know is I hear random like voices through my. It's really creepy, and I actually recorded it, so I have proof. But I hear random voices through my speaker. And then when I do, I just heard it like not that long ago. It disconnects my mic, and it disconnects my keyboard. So if anyone knows what the heck to do,
is everything wireless or
it's
no,
one of two things? 3-bit. It's either aliens or it's ghosts. I mean, what else could it be? It's either aliens or ghosts. I'm sorry to break this news to you, but you're gonna have to deal with one or the other. So, whichever it is, I'm sorry that this is happening to you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I looked it up on Google, the Googlers.
Voices with strange voices coming from my speakers, and then I lose connection. Yeah,
I Googled that. I googled.
You're gonna be the star of a movie. You're talking about the found footage thing. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be you.
I swear this is happening.
It's like
it used to happen in Izzy's room. Actually, like she would get random voices in her speaker, but it stopped happening to her. But now it's happening to me.
Yeah, it's
paranormal podcast.
Yeah. What are the voices saying? 3-bit.
It's very muffled, but it repeats sometimes, right? So it'll be a guy like, "Hello, I'm going to the bar." Click.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like aliens, so it's probably
that's
ghosts.
all I hear. I don't even know what it's so muffled. But he
always says
click.
Yeah.
He always says like, I can hear the click part. He's like click, and then that's all I hear.
Whoever it is died in a drunk driving accident, probably.
Why is he saying click?
No, because he said he's going to the bar. This is his last word.
It sounds like bar. I don't know what the heck he said.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
it's been messing with my mic. So if my mic randomly cuts off, that is why. Okay. And I don't know how to solve it because I look up Google.
Sorry, everybody. 3-bit's having technical difficulties. It's the aliens or the ghost. You're just gonna have to deal with this.
It's like I'm like, what do I even type into Google this situation? Like, I'm hearing voices through my speaker. It's disconnecting my microphone and my keyboard and my mouse.
Probably a priest. Just Google a priest.
Some rosary beads, some holy water,
Like, is there a priest virus I can send into my PC and exorcise my demons that are affecting my microphone?
He's like, you're the 5th case this week. It's like, I don't know. It's such a
don't Google this stuff on the internet because that's what you see in the movies. Somebody like, oh, what's happening in my house? And then they go down this rabbit hole, then they find some story about somebody that died last year that had the same thing happen to them. And then they go and find some story that they were investigating somebody else that it happened to before after they go and speak to their
sounds like
mother.
The start of a movie. Like it's like, oh, you've been hearing that too, huh?
The voices,
Sorry.
they're always coming through. You
Yeah.
heard the click.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that if that
7 days.
and Halloween is coming up too. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
that is why if I randomly disconnect, yeah, I don't know why it's doing this to me, but it is.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. Do that, then you're gonna get ads for a psych ward or exorcist, probably.
Yeah.
Google usually hits us up with weird advertisements for things.
Yeah,
like if you mention a car, like a specific car, Buick Encore. Everybody turn if you're driving and to the speaker, Buick
I finally
Encore.
got rid of the Buick ads. Damn it.
You're just gonna see random ads for like Buick on your phone for like a couple weeks. I guarantee you.
Probably, yeah. And if you guys want to see or hear what the heck I'm hearing, maybe I'll post it right after the show because I recorded it. 'Cause I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But anyways,
It's probably some Bluetooth thing, or somebody has like a frequency or similar that lives nearby or something.
yeah, somehow,
Yeah.
I guess my speaker is somehow picking up like different. My theory is it's like it's picking up different random radio frequencies or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's like in October, close to Halloween, and this is happening to you.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely been annoying because I'll be in a meeting and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, here's the proposal, something like that. You know,
Yeah.
just cut out.
It could just be that you have a bad microphone,
That could be it too.
or a bad cord. You know,
But no, my my mouse does it too, and my keyboard. all at
your
the same
mouse
time.
talks to you. No, that's a real fucking problem. If you hear voices coming from your mouth,
No.
definitely some kind of possession happening.
Then yeah, I would have to move out. But no, it all disconnects. Like so.
Okay.
My mic disconnects, and then my
Yeah.
keyboard. Sometimes my mouse will too. But
Yeah. It's
I'm going to
gotta
kill
be a
you,
Bluetooth.
3-bit.
When the mouse starts moving on its own, like it's a
Yeah.
Ouija board or something. Yeah, it's time
Yeah.
to move again.
Well, no,
But I
not
just
again.
moved.
3-bit's moved
I
like
just
8
got it.
times in the last 2 months. So, a shout out to Alvin. Hit us with the $2 super chat. Says call Constantine 3-bit. Yeah, 3-bit. Maybe you should call Constantine.
Where does he live? Like, how do I get in contact with him? Like, is he
Talk
just-
back to the speakers.
Ask
Oh yeah, I haven't tried that.
ask your dad. He worked for Marvel, so he may know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're like, hey, dude. Wait, he's DC, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Constantine is DC, right? Who's Marvel? He's the
Or is
Marvel
he
version.
DC?
No, is he? Yes, he is. Who's the Marvel version of Constantine? They have one. Would that be like Jonah Hex?
Maybe I guess Jonah. Marvel. Actually, I can't think of a. I think Marvel has one besides Jonah.
Okay.
Mm.
Anyway,
That I can think of. But anyways.
all right. So
Sorry
what
for
were we talking
derailing.
about? Yeah, no, it's fine. Games.
Yeah.
Xbox games. So at the partner preview show, I was actually really crazily surprised by a couple things. Overall, I wasn't surprised that they had a good show because they've had a lot of good shows this year. But I was really surprised at like Bloober Team showing up with a new IP, right? Marketed with Xbox, obviously, as well. And also it's supposed to be next year.
Mhm.
Like what? Like Bloober cranks out games, man. Like we can talk about they've had some hits, some misses, some good games, and Silent Hill delivered. I think Silent Hill 2 is putting them more on the map, but
Mhm.
you're gonna have a lot more excitement probably for this next game because of the success of Silent Hill 2 as well. But yeah, they've been like a study studios constantly crank stuff out, the Layers of Fear franchise and all that other kind of stuff as well, man. So they had the Medium.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Bloober Team is cooking, and the game, I love the trailer, right? The old lady playing chess with the Big Daddy / Dead Space looking kind of guy, and then it has It's different weird kind of vibes to it. But then the gameplay segment at the end really sold it for me. Looked really, really good, right? But then the other big surprise was what? Remedy doing a multiplayer co-op game.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Like it's just, what the hell? Like this is not something that we would ever have anticipated ever seeing in our lifetime. Remedy doing this and it was set in the whole Control, Alan Wake like universe, right? But the coolest thing for me seeing that was you could tell they're using the physics and the physics-based gameplay from that universe, right? So it just looked super interesting. I noticed all the different abilities, the kinds of weapons they're using, and if you played those games at all, you know like how much fun you can have with that physics-based gameplay. But they took that into this co-op multiplayer game, so that was just a crazy surprise. The other thing was like just again like Fallen Feathers, Wuchang Fallen Feathers, just how good it actually looked, and it actually made me interested to give it a go. So you had games and genres I'm usually not as excited about actually being interesting enough to get me to want to try. You had multiple games getting announced for Game Pass as well for next year. Then you had 2 games that were available right away. One was Animal Well, came to Xbox yesterday, which is an indie darling that launched earlier this year that's been doing amazing. And then you also had that Blind Fire game going to a game preview. It's only like $8.99 if anybody wants to give it a shot. It's on PC and Xbox, but yeah, it's like a multiplayer arena style, turn off the lights, kind of neon, like looks like a paintball theme kind of game or whatever. But yeah, that was pretty awesome as well. So overall, it's just lots of good stuff. Eden Zero looked pretty good. Eternal Strands looked really good as well. Made from some a mixture of developers from different studios, formerly from different studios and stuff. So, but yeah, again, the Pirate Yakuza game looking like they're doing pirate combat better than Assassin's Creed. Black Flag better than Black Flag, possibly, like, or better definitely than Skull and Bones. Like, man, it looks like what we wanted to see them evolve into from Black Flag, but this is just like a, hey, here's another Yakuza game. This time we're doing pirates, right? It's like, what? Okay, next year we'll be doing something else. But like
Yakuza in space.
just yeah, exactly. Next year will be Yakuza in space. You know that could actually happen. You say it as a joke, but would it
funny if it does? And would it surprise you? To play it. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me. You could have Yakuza aliens. Maybe have the answer with what's going on with the 3-Bits house. But Yakuza in general, they just cook like game after game after game, and they put the release date like a week sooner. Right? Like, holy hell, that's really awesome for them to move it up like that. Because as they said, hey, development's just going better than we expected. Hey, why not? We want to bring it to the fans as fast as possible. It was only a move of a week, right? But still, it just kind of goes to show you the quality of those studios and them being able to crank out that content, right? You had a Mistfall Hunter, which is not for me, right? But for the people that it is for, it looked great. Souls-like game mixed with extraction mechanics and stuff as well. For people that really love horror, there's Phasmophobia, which is coming to Xbox this month as well. So it's just overall just lots of stuff. And again, that Will World game, like you mentioned, 3, but that's coming to Game Pass day and date also. So just out of the Game Pass day and date games, we got Wuchang Fallen Feathers, we got Will World. You got Subnautica 2 hitting early access next year, going into Game Pass day and date. Then you have, let's see, they're not done yet. You have the FBC Firebreak, that co-op Remedy game is hitting Game Pass day and date. Like you said, Eternal Strands as well. It's just like tons of stuff just got announced for Game Pass. Some of it hitting next year. Surprises for this year coming out on top of the already insane amount of games we have to play right now. I put out a tweet earlier because it's just like, I don't know what to fucking play. It's just so crazy that I have literally probably 50 games I mean, I could have kept going, and only reason I stopped on my list earlier is because I ran out of space, and I didn't want to have like an ongoing like thread. But I just literally like thinking about what I want to play right now, right? And trying to make that decision, I'm being pulled from so many different directions on what to play because there's so many different genres being represented, a different variety, quality games, and it's hard to make that choice, man. It literally, legitimately is like I want to maybe start drawing numbers to decide what to fucking play for the day, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many games from earlier this year, from last year that I haven't finished yet. This is never going to end.
I try to
And-
like force myself to like stick to like if I'm playing, I beat RoboCop finally. If I'm playing a game that just came, let's say RoboCop or Starfield or whatever, I'm basically like, okay, I'm on punishment. I'm not allowed to play any other game until I finish this game. Like I'll allow like exceptions every once in a while, but for the most part, I find that's working for me because there's just so many games out that comes out. You know, Kate said Call of Duty next week. I definitely want to play that on release, so that is an exception. But for the most part, I try to like stick to one game, all right, and play that for hours and then beat it. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be beating games for a while. There's too many games coming out this year. There's even more. I'm excited about even next year. So it's just like, goodness gracious, like there is no lack or shortage of games that's coming out this year. I really won't understand all the people who are like, "Where there's no games out this year or this year's week," or I can't believe that's even a thing with all the stuff that I have to play eventually. But my goal is to beat Starfield. There's a lot of games at this showcase I'm actually pretty interested in trying out. Like the fact that Remedy is doing a shooter is very interesting, and I thought it was interesting that they showed it at this stage as opposed to Sony stage, but it kind of makes sense. Like Xbox has the shooters, right? It has a place. It's known as a pretty decent spot for like multiplayer type games, so maybe that's something they were kind of relying on. But that looks really fun. Remedy, like okay, first person type game. It looked really interesting. If I had to like just pick one game of the show, that is very hard. Like there's a lot of variety here at the show that I really enjoyed. Is Yakuza in Game Pass? Probably not, right?
No,
The new one. Okay. That is a game I'm definitely adding to the list. There's too many games, but yeah, you should draw from a hat, Math. Maybe that's something. Is I run into the problem too. There's just too many amazing games. I have to. Someone in chat mentioned Metaphor. Like again, that's one game I really want to dive into. I'm just in Starfield land right now, and I'm trying to beat the DLC, and then maybe after the DLC, I'll open myself up to like jumping into Metaphor. It's just so many games. It's overwhelming.
Very. I was playing Metaphor most of the time today, right? And it's just special game, right? Like if you're into JRPGs, now if you're not into JRPGs, you're like, I'm not interested in it, which is fine, right? But a lot of people just like are ignoring these games because they're not for them, which is completely fine. But to act like maybe this year sucks is a personal thing. It's not necessarily like a statement of necessarily fact because there's lots of great games delivering for lots of different people. And it just depends on what's for you and what's not. And this year maybe doesn't have the kinds of games that some people are looking for, but overall, there's the variety and like high quality amount of games that have dropped this year across the board is really awesome. And they're all in these kind of genres. A lot of them are that have been bypassed in the past, that got neglected in the past, or weren't treated as like a bigger budget type kind of thing as well. And now you have new IPs, right? You have returning franchises. You have the remakes and the remasters still, but you also have lots of new big games coming out of all kinds, and like strategy games, right? Some people aren't interested in them. Like I am, right? Like, and they're coming out more than I can ever remember, except for maybe like 2007 ish and before around that time. There's just so many things to look forward to and to play right now. So 2024 has been great, but it's not done yet. Like this, we're like we were talking about. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is literally a week away. Next Friday, launch night for Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and that's going to be a huge game. It's not only going to be huge, but I think there's a from the Call of Duty fan base in general, just from that fan base specifically, it's going to be one that is highly anticipated. They're going to look at it and be like, "This is one of the best games in the franchise in a long time." But it's also in Game Pass day and date, man. And people say, "Well, I'll be interested in Game Pass when they deliver big games." Can you get any bigger than Call of Duty? Like, what is there that's bigger, really, than maybe GTA, right? Like, that's not happening, you know. But like, what I'm saying is that's about as big as it gets now for big AAA kind of games. So
that's you can't go any higher than Call of Duty at the moment.
but they don't. So a lot of people don't count it because I'm not into Call of Duty.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like
it's not based in logic. I've seen so many.
go play the Spider-Man 2 DLC then. Oh wait, sorry.
Oh shoot. Too soon.
Too soon. My bad. My fault.
No, I see a lot of people post like, oh, I rather just buy it on PlayStation, which you can do. I mean, like, more power to you. But this is kind of what when the whole thing happened where they started announcing like other games going to other platforms. That was something I would mention in Fuzzy and Mav too. It's like, hey, you can buy it on PlayStation, or you can. If you have Game Pass already, then that's something you could just play through the service. And to me, that saves you a lot of money. And it helps out with games you want to try. For years, I wasn't really vibing with the Call of Duty franchise, to be honest with you. I was just not really feeling it.
Well, you couldn't play it online because of your damn router.
Yeah, that too. My router hated Activision games, so I just gave up. Really. Even going for it, like I couldn't play Destiny, to be fair. Couldn't play anything related to Activision in some way, even though it's not Activision anymore. But even when I moved, I was just like, not feeling Call of Duty. And then randomly jumped into Warzone. I was like, okay, it's been years. The last Call of Duty game I really played was like Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And that was the last one I was like, I kind of vibe with or was interested in playing. I heard a lot of good things about like Modern Warfare and stuff like that, but some of the new Warzone content I jumped in, and I was like, dang, this is fun. Like it almost revitalized my interest in the Call of Duty franchise again. And now they're putting it on Game Pass, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are similar to me, where they're just like, I'll either wait for a sale or I got other games to play or whatever. But the fact that it's in Game Pass allows people to be like, whoa. And that's just it's such a huge game at the same time, right? A lot of people play Call of Duty, but that there's still that subset of people like me, where they're just like, I kind of skipped out on Call of Duty. Maybe I'll try to jump in this year. And they have a easier time of doing that. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, man. It being in Game Pass is a big deal, right? It's a big deal because it's going to introduce a lot of people that are kind of like, said that they're not interested anymore in Call of Duty. They're going to give it a shot again, right? But also, I see a lot of people like in the threads. Anytime that there's a thread about Call of Duty or something, they'll be like, "Oh wait, it's in Game Pass." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's going to. I think more than anything with Game Pass, it's going to kind of more familiarize the name Game Pass with more gamers, right? Just because they're going to start to see these ads that are, you know, continue to be synonymous with it, and maybe people start to ask questions like, "What is it?" or "What else is coming in there?" Right, and stuff like that. So overall, I think it's gonna help it for sure. It's gonna help Game Pass. I think it's also gonna help Call of Duty. Um, but we'll see exactly what the payoff is in the long run. But yeah, this is the first big one. This is the first time that a game that is as big, that's a third party game, as Call of Duty is launching into service day one. Obviously, not third party anymore, right? But a multi platform, massive franchise that's been around for forever now. And hey, guess what? Now it's Game Pass day and date for everybody. And not only just for us, but also they're doing cloud streaming as well for people to access it that way. If you have like a a stick or something like that, you can play it that way as well. And it's not going to be the option of choice, but there's a lot of people that don't care and they just want to be able to access the game. And if you can say, hey, I can stream it from this or that and actually play through the campaign or just give it a shot, that might actually introduce more gamers getting used to playing that way as well. But Fuzz, we got Call of Duty hitting Game Pass next week, man. Like, pretty crazy, right? Are you? Did you play the beta? I think you did, right?
No, I downloaded it and then never really dived into it. I've watched a lot of people's videos as far as the Omni movement and wanted to give it a try, but it's like I'll just wait for the campaign. Like that's the big thing I wound up playing anyway. And the fact that that's pretty much right around the corner. We got Stalker 2 not too far after. I'm still playing, Starfield, and then I have my daily rotation. Well, mainly my daily rotations had to be reduced to just Forza Horizon 5 because I don't have time to play the Division right now, and I really don't have time to play Diablo. I haven't picked up the expansion yet. I figure I'll wait until they have a sale and pick it up because it's probably for my best that seeing how there's so many other things that I really want to play, I'm not going to go back to something that I've played a good bit and then wait until they work out some of the kinks in this latest expansion. But everything I hear about it is great. So it's like I'm on that fence of picking up that and then knowing that I'm going to sink so many hours that either Starfield's going to get neglected or something else is going to get neglected. It's talk about overload and like first world problems to be happy to have some of these problems. Like I know people used to joke about Xbox not having games, but it is to the point where you know how you were talking about drawing numbers. Like I make it a routine almost. Like every day I'm going to play Forza Horizon 5. Like I'm on that car collection thing because I've done most of the other stuff. I haven't finished all the accolades. I'm almost at 1 million accolade points. I've been, not really struggling, but I've been ignoring doing the accolades and stuff because at first I was all about it, and then they had some broken ones, and I just stopped going after the accolades and stuff. But I got like over 800 cars that are different. Like there's almost 900. There's 881 cars. I got like 811 of those different cars, and that's without buying any of the extra packs and stuff. So that's always going to be in the daily rotation. Right now I'm flipping back and forth between Starfield and Outer Worlds because I didn't finish Outer Worlds. And unfortunately my save, it's not a play anywhere save. So my console save versus my PC save is different. So it's like I restarted the game, but I'm almost to where I was on the console. So I'm getting extra gamer score points and, just messing around with that because there's some things that I kind of like about Outer Worlds. That's not exactly in Starfield, but also enjoying Starfield and afraid I'm going to go down this hole of building starships and not playing the game. But Stalker 2 and the campaign for Call of Duty are the next on the to-do list. And I don't even know when I'm going to have time to even play those. Like I'm still playing Undisputed, which I'm kind of disappointed with the launch of Undisputed. it looks a little sharper or looks a little bit cleaner, but they made it more arcadey as far as the feel. It feels like Rock'em Sock'em robots kind of sometimes. Like you can almost do like a speed bag on the like a punching bag type of deal on the enemies or the AI, and that wasn't how it was before. Like after like 2 punches, they start dipping and slipping some of the punches and stuff like that. Now it doesn't seem like they do that as good as they did prior to the release. So Undisputed's kind of pissing me off to the point where I might put it down. But then Sifu came to Game Pass just a couple of days ago, or maybe it was like a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago. And I've always loved that game. Played it on PlayStation, bought it when it launched, bought it on Steam, and then now it's on Xbox. It's like I'm not buying it a third time just yet, but just having fun with that. But man, there's just so much good stuff, and it like I could see if this was like what was that game? Not X Defiant. What was the one that was by Remedy but not really by Remedy? That we Crossfire X, yeah,
bro.
Where the campaign could have been better, but the multiplayer was like broken to some extent. I could see if there were games like that, in Game Pass right now, where it's like, I don't know what to play because garbage here, there, whatever. But like even Scorn, which I know there's some people in the chat that didn't really care for Scorn, but I had fun with it, and it was getting ready to leave Game Pass, and so that one got bumped up to the top of the list. So it's like I had to hurry up and play that before it left, kind of deal, to kind of get my money's worth out of it. And I was pleasantly surprised. A cool aliens type themed game, as somebody put it earlier today, a moist environment. So
it's very moist.
But that's just. It's so weird now how Xbox has a loaded roadmap, like between Game Pass in itself and then just what's coming to the platform, like stuff that wasn't coming around before, like Metaphor. 5 or 10 years ago, would Metaphor have come to Xbox? Probably not. Yakuza wasn't even on Xbox, so. It's just such a great time right now, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. If anything, it seems like it's piling on even more. Like with that showcase, the partner preview, we already have some insight of what 2025 is going to look like. Now we kind of knew, we know what games are coming from first party, but it's already filling up with third party stuff that's exciting. So Animal Well is one of those that. I was pretty darn close to picking that up over at Steam, played on the Steam Deck, but hey, now it's coming to Xbox. It's like, oh, that's awesome. That saves me time and money right there. I'll still wind up picking it up at some point, but just the fact that it's, on the platform as opposed to, I'm trying not to buy too many things on PC only, because then that limits me just to, like, especially if it's something where I want some gamer score stuff, which is a whole different thing on Steam with points and whatnot, or achievements and whatnot. But man, it almost feels like we're on the brink of overload at this point, but that's a good thing. It's not that I'm complaining. It's just I'm retired and I'm still trying to find time to play all these games. So I can only imagine when you have stuff you're supposed to be doing during the day, and it's like, come home tired. No, it's like, it's overwhelming. It's almost on overload point. But Call of Duty, that's its own animal, and I'm so glad that, I won't say glad. I'm laughing on the inside watching these people try to badmouth Xbox about it, like, oh, Xbox will be dead after this, or Game Pass won't do this, and it's like,
Xbox has been dead since it came out.
Literally today, I saw like this, like, rumors that Jez had to like put it to bed that they were done with this generation and they were leaving the console space this generation again, and like there was like YouTubers running with it. And like even after Jez was like, yeah, this was ridiculous. It was like an Icon era thing or something, but like these people are actually running with it, just like and that having lots of people watch their show as if it's some kind of factual thing and like this huge discussion. It's just like hilarious how delusional some people are because of their hate for the brand or wanting to see it fail, that they'll just believe anything. And that becomes the fact. Whereas like we're sitting here having Call of Duty hit this month. We just had MechWarrior 5 Clans just randomly kind of like, hey, here's another fucking game, guys. You want this one too? Yeah, surprise. Hey, did you expect this? No? Okay, well, we're going to give it to you anyway. We're going to cram more games down your fucking throat because we know that's what you like. Games, we're going to give it to you, whether you ask for it or not. MechWarrior 5 Clans coming to Game Pass next week. It was like, okay, cool. I'm going to play that shit too, right?
Yeah.
So we got that. We got fucking Call of Duty coming this month. We have Stalker 2 coming next month. We have Flight Sim coming next month. And then after that, we still have Indiana Jones hitting this year into Game Pass. And hey, we're not done there. We're going to go ahead and have another October show and announce more Xbox Game Pass games coming to Game Pass in 2025. Ones you didn't even fucking know about yesterday. Surprise. Ooh, but Xbox is going out of fucking business, and you're going to run with this on your actual show and actually have delusional idiots actually believe your shit? What the hell was the world that we live in, man? Hi, Pong. How's it going?
Well, I heard, guys, and I didn't realize this. Again, who am I? I don't know anything. But I never realized that for my Game Pass Ultimate subscription, I can only play one game. I have to choose one game and play it.
So
once you get a Game Pass,
I'm spending $18 a month for one fucking game. This is crazy. What have I been doing with my fucking life? How am I a functioning adult in 2024 and not know that I can only play one fucking game? And I've imagined all the other games that are on my Game Pass list. I haven't played any of that shit. I've only been playing one game at a fucking time. It's like GameFly. I got to fucking pick one game and then I got to uninstall it and then I can choose another one.
Not allowed to buy any game.
You're not allowed to buy it. No, you're not allowed to buy it, but I can only play one at a time. I have to uninstall it, and then Game Pass allows me to select another game that I get to play for my monthly subscription.
You have to actually fly to Seattle and walk into the Xbox Game Studios offices and switch out the copy there.
Well, yeah, and Phil has to sign off first. So it takes a while. There's a delay because Phil has to personally sign off on each return to make sure it's legit. These fucking narratives, bro, on these shows. I am still flabbergasted that these shows have audiences, that anybody can take these dudes seriously. These dudes are supposedly as old as I am, and these guys act like they've been gaming for fucking 6 months, and they have zero idea of how Xbox's whole entire operation works. Like, and I know it's not true. I know they do because some of them are OG Xbox people. And yet they still go on these shows. They still tell their audience, oh, you're spending $20 a month on Game Pass Ultimate for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. That's why you spend $60 in 3 months. Just go buy the game. Just go buy the game. The fuck are you talking about? You act like that's the only fucking game coming to Game Pass. Like they erased the entire 400 game library, and it's only Black Ops 6 from here on out.
Call of Duty subscription.
That's all it is, bro. This shit is amazing to me. Again, I just can't.
The Call of Duty Pass.
These clips pop up on my feed, and I'm just like, you're really running with this at this point in 2024. Like, this is like actual knowledge that you're passing along to your audience. Like, that you honestly are going to sit here and act like nobody else plays any other fucking games out there. Like, this is...
Well, I mean, to be fair with the people that are talking, maybe they don't actually fucking play any games.
Yeah. It's very disingenuous when you really get down to it, and what they like are saying for a lot of Game Pass. They basically are saying, like, what is your problem with Game Pass? If you ask them, they're like, well, I don't like what it's going to potentially do to the business. Like, they're worried more about the business side than the value it actually offers. Like, if you are really going down to it, like, I see so many clips that are like, well, Game Pass it can't be sustainable. Like, there's no way.
But 3-bit, now this week it's, they took away the dollar deal. Look at what they're doing. We are trying to be the next.
So you do care,
bro. So either you are saying that it's unsustainable and Xbox doesn't know how to run their business, or then you get upset because they're removing the dollar deal that all you and your fucking fake ass gamer boys were going to go use to go play Call of Duty for a month. And now you're pissed off because they took that dollar deal away from you so that you might have to spend 20 if you want to play it, or go pay full price like you normally do every single fucking year. But again, the goalposts move constantly. Xbox is dead, but oh shit, they're removing the dollar deal. Oh, what's Xbox doing, guys? They're pulling a fast one. They've never pulled the dollar deal before. Ever.
What?
Excuse me? Yeah. Oh yeah. Legit.
Starfield?
Legit. They've done it. They've pulled it before. Like they just change constantly because their narrative keeps getting blown out of the water every single fucking time. Again, they can hang their hat all they want that they were the ones claiming that Xbox would be the first to go third party. That is fine. They can hang their hat all day on that shit. Again, that's a change in the business model. We talked about it a long time ago. They can do that. But the rest of these fucking narratives that they've been running with forever, they legit just want Sony and Nintendo in this space. That's it. They legit wanted to go back to just exclusive, and they are legit willing to pay $100 plus per game for the bullshit just to brag that they have a PlayStation exclusive. That is the only thing that the way they want it gets you. That's the only thing. What happened to your fucking Sony quality, folks? What happened to your Sony quality that you claimed that exclusivity gave you guys? What happened to it? We have now seen pretty good trend here of diminishing quality from Sony. So what happened to that shit, right? What happened to your, we've got the premium experience, nobody else gets it? Well, that's now also gone. And again, you can keep holding on to, well, it's not on Xbox. Yeah. You also said, they're not going to shave the time down on those PC releases. They're going to stay 2 years, 3 years, and they'll drop them in there. Yeah. Spider-Man 2, 1 year, just over 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it's getting closer to me. Oh, what happened to the DLC for Spider-Man 2? Oh, that's right. You guys aren't getting it. Why aren't you fucking getting it? Oh, that's right. Because you guys didn't buy enough fucking copies. Right? That's what Sony's telling you. Why did the first Spider-Man get 3 DLCs in under a year?
Sold, was it 20 million or 30 million copies or something?
Yeah. What did Spider-Man do? It did well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying it was a flop, but did it do enough to get you that DLC, or did Hiroki Totoki and Herman Holst, after they took over the ship from Jim, look at it and go, yeah, Insomniac, now any DLC you guys had planned, like that Venom, you might want to we're going to turn that into a single standalone experience so we can resell it.
We suck at business. No more DLC.
Listen, I'm not here. Again, this shit is so obvious that it's ridiculous, and that you guys don't. Again, the only reason I ever come on here, I could really care less about the clown show anymore, what they say. Yeah. The only reason why I do this is because of how they continuously, every time, again, I don't go to these shows. I don't. I have zero. Yeah. But when the clips pop up, it is obvious that they have not changed one iota this entire generation. Their talking points are exactly the same as they were from the beginning. And no matter what has happened, they still will not talk about Sony. They will only talk about Xbox and all of the problems they perceive Xbox has, and all the idiocy that they claim the Xbox fan base has for listening to Xbox or believing in Xbox or liking Xbox, because shit, we already know their games aren't the premium quality experience games we get here. Who the hell's buying those games over there? This is why I still ticks me off when I see this shit, because it has not altered one entire bit. We have had all these discussions. We've all been biased towards Xbox this entire generation. That's an obvious fact. Most of us have not ever fanboyed. Mav has fun every once in a while. I've seen Fuzzy on some shows have some fun every once in a while, but not to the point that these other dudes do. But we have obviously been on Xbox's side because that's where we are spending most of our time. And that is our ecosystem of choice. But at the same time, our conversations as this generation has gone on have altered as things have changed, right? We have not clung to the same fucking bullshit that fanboys cling to nonstop, no matter what's in front of their faces, and then turn around, start gatekeeping and continuing to gatekeep and act like you're smarter than every other bear in the fucking room when you're just as big an imbecile as all of us with just opinions. That's all you are. No matter how much business experience you have, no matter where you come from, no matter what degrees you may have, it does not give you a leg up, because the facts are you are not in any of these fucking boardrooms, just like the rest of us. So all of your talk is speculation, right? All of it. And it might be a little bit higher speculation. You might be able to use some bigger words. You might have a little more insight into maybe some different perspectives from that boardroom. But at the end of the day, your bullshit stinks just like our bullshit does. The difference is we have altered the conversations over here on most of our shows when the industry has changed. We have had different discussions than we did at the beginning of the generation. You guys, nothing has changed. It's the same damn conversation. Every other week, Xbox is dead. And in the in-between weeks, it's like how they suck and how many mistakes they've made. And, oh, shit, did you see this?
And when's this coming to PlayStation?
That's the difference. So start talking about Sony. Start talking about what their plans are. Use all this great wisdom that you all have and all this experience that you all have that you claim that nobody else has. And nobody should speak on any topics when it comes to business related or any type of high level conversations unless you actually have that experience. Go ahead and have those conversations. Why don't you peer in your crystal balls and see what Sony's fucking doing right now? Because what I see is it's great. They filled in the holes like they always do with some third-party deals. You guys got some great games this year. Where's the big first-party games that you guys constantly had during the PlayStation 4 generation, at least after the first part of the PlayStation 4 generation? What happened to that roadmap? What happened to that pipeline? Why don't you talk about what obviously was the Games as a Service failure initiative? Why don't you peer into your crystal balls, use all that knowledge, and start talking to your Sony fans who make up your audience about where Sony's going and what you think is going to happen? Oh, you don't want to put your balls on the line? You don't want to step out and actually predict what your favorite company's going to do? You'd rather go ahead and continue to slander the one that you've been slandering for a decade now? It's some cheap ass shit, man. It's some weak ass garbage shit, man. Start talking about Sony. Start laying it out. I'd love to go into some of your shows and actually hear some intelligent conversations, because there are some people over there that can have intelligent conversations. I'd love to hear some about where you think Sony's going. Not the same old bullshit. Oh, they're going to give us, don't worry, guys. They're going to give us a premium experience. Don't worry, guys. They're still the best at what they do. Don't worry, guys. Hiroki and Herman, it's all still there. It's all still coming. We got Wolverine. Don't worry. Give it to me. What does the next 5 years look like? How are they going to adapt to the changing situation? You could turn a blind eye and say you don't see them changing, but they obviously fucking are. They're obviously doing something with PC. So give it to me. You know what we do over here? And again, it's all opinions. It's all speculation. That's why we have fun over here. But what we do over here is we actually put ourselves on the line, even if we're going to be completely fucking wrong, which we have been a lot. We've also been right a bunch of times as well. But we actually put it out there for the people that are here on our shows, for the Xbox fans that mostly show up to our shows, right? We put that out there. We speculate with them. We get the chat involved. We get them thinking about what Xbox is doing. Sometimes they don't like it. Sometimes parts of the chat do like it. Some parts hate it. But we get them thinking about what Xbox is doing. We're not sitting over here constantly just going after Sony. Sure, we mention them from time to time when it's necessary. But I don't see any of you guys doing that on that side. All you do is spend time about Xbox. Why don't you have big roundtable discussions about what happened with Concord and how Sony's going to figure out and not mismanage their studios like you guys had 1 billion conversations about Xbox mismanaging all their studios? Why aren't you talking about the mismanagement that's been going on at Sony? Why not? Because you don't want to do it.
Because they're not being real about who they are. Like, it's really, I mean, if they do that, they're going to lose their audience. That's just
you
the
got the wrong fucking audience, and you got the wrong people.
Exactly. It's all a disingenuous, like, shit show. And really, they should just change their name to, hey, everybody, welcome to Talk Shit About Xbox Podcast. That's what we do every week here. It's just talk shit about Xbox. What's the topics this week? Xbox sucks ass. Here we go. Let's just figure out how many ways Xbox can suck ass this week. All right. Hey, guess what? They haven't released God of War yet. Oh, that's PlayStation has God of War. Xbox, where's your God of War? Let's have another conversation. When is Xbox Game Pass going to cause Xbox to go out of business? Is it next week or is it next month? I don't know, but it's going to be one of those two. That's the only two options. Tune in next week to Talk Shit About Xbox Podcast.
Thank you. Subscribe.
That's just the reality of what it is, and that's just how they grow their show, and that's who they pander to. And if they stop doing that and they actually have real, genuine conversations or expose who they really are, then they won't have their content anymore, and they'll lose all their money from all their people that they have and all the attention that they get and stuff. Yep. It's an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is.
Like, give so much credit to our chat, because how many times have they came to our shows and been like, it's almost refreshing to hear these type of takes where not constantly just like wrecking on Xbox. We criticize them, you know, of course, when necessary.
Like studio closures. Hey,
yeah,
but
like
then we're pony bots. If we criticize Xbox for actually closing studios, which for us was like a legitimate thing to like, hey, this sucks. It's not what this is not what we want, right? But we're not allowed to do that, you know. But it's like, but that's what they're afraid of. That's what those guys are afraid of. 3-bit. They're afraid of any kind of criticism towards PlayStation is going to cause this kind of backlash and
like,
stuff.
Let's talk about the amount of remakes that they're probably going to have again, more remakes, more remasters. Let's talk about their games as a service plans. What is happening there? Why is Spider-Man 2 not have DLC? Oh, they want to spin it into another singular game so they can make more money. Let's talk about all this stuff is basically not essentially being talked about. But you know, we'll just keep it real. You know, talk about what we need to talk about. I find like everybody here loves Xbox. We vibe with it. I vibe with it in terms of the value it personally brings me. So when we're talking about like first party games or roadmaps, like we have a pretty clear roadmap of what Xbox is going to do. It's like pretty impressive. And Sony, it's like a mystery. Every show, how many times have we heard like, oh, we're about to get our mystery show for Sony? We've been hearing that for 3-4 years now, I'm pretty sure at this point. And every single time, it's like this show that Xbox, that like your topic, this third party show is pretty much what PlayStation relies on now. It's a third party showcase, and that is their main show. They might have like a Ghost of Utah at the very end or something like that. Now maybe a surprise, 1 or 2 first party surprises in their shows. But you've had the fan base kind of just warm up to that now. Like how many times have I heard like, oh, Sony's first party, like oh, they have plenty of first party games this year, and then they'll mention like one and then start adding a bunch of third party games. But that's huge goalposts from what their mindset tends to be, which is, you know, my games versus your games. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't think Sony is in the position that a lot of people think it is. I remember Steele actually made a good point in our chat like a long time ago. I forgot what some article popped up. I think it might have been Horizon or something like that. But I think a lot of people don't realize the position that Sony could potentially be in the next 4 or 5 years. In terms of their game plans, in terms of their business structure, and where that is going, the day one window for PC and how that's going to get shorter and what the repercussions of that could be. Like all this stuff is you know, stuff we've talked about on our shows, and we're not even primarily a Sony show, but that is something we tend to discuss, and that's something a lot of people out here are not discussing. It's just Xbox sucks, and with Game Pass, because I will never understand the mentality of like hating on Game Pass, just because to me it's such a crazy good value proposition. Like it might not be for everybody who like oh, there's certain games I'm not interested in. Cool. The reason why I like it is I like to be surprised and try different games, and there's a lot that does pop up in there just randomly. Like if you relate to all the games that came out in Game Pass this year comparatively to other services, it's not even a contest in my opinion. But when you start to like dial down on what I like about Game Pass, and it's it always comes out like their problems with Game Pass, which is what Pong was kind of hinting on earlier, is my problem with Game Pass. It has nothing to do with what is in Game Pass. It's like the potential future of what could happen with Game Pass.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Game Pass itself. That's what all these conversations out there revolve around. There's like, oh, I don't think Xbox can sustain this. This is too much. Like, there's no way Call of Duty, adding Call of Duty to Game Pass can be good for Microsoft. Like, what do I care about what Microsoft and Xbox puts on to Game Pass, like a Call of Duty, to the point where I'm like, well, if I support Game Pass, what if what if Xbox is going to go out of business? So I might as well not game. Like, these are the mindsets that these people have. Like, instead of being like, oh, wow, Game Pass equals me being able to play Call of Duty without having to pay $70 for it. Cool. And I can also try these games, like in these games. Cool. That's my mindset. I'm always in the value mindset. So, like, what can I get for the dollar I'm putting in, especially, me getting older, jobs, all the things I'm dealing with. My gaming time has definitely shrunk. So when I am sitting down and I am trying these different games, Game Pass has been an amazing value for me personally. But you have a lot of these people out here saying like, hey, Game Pass, there's no way they could keep that up. There's no way that, it's a completely different mindset for what a gamer should have, in my opinion. Like,
it should be about themselves and what am I getting for my dollar, right? And a lot of people also will say like, yeah, it's like ridiculous a service like this exists, like where you like don't even own the games and stuff. Like, I like to buy my games. That's my favorite thing. If you like say like something awesome, like Game Pass is great. Oh, you rent, you don't buy? Like, yeah, like I did when I was a fucking kid too, a Blockbuster. Did you have a problem with me then?
Did you go into a game, a Blockbuster, and be like, oh, you're renting? Like, how? Like, well,
Yeah, but this one actually never going away because it's Xbox first party, and I don't ever have to uninstall it, and I get to play it as much as I want. And there's also 400 something other games I can also just download anytime I want. So this is kind of like renting, but on steroids in a crazy way that you could never really imagine. Yeah, you lose it if you unsubscribe. But you know what? This has always been an option. That's the other kind of thing that like people are like miss the mark on with Game Pass is like, hey, everybody, surprise, it's fucking optional. Like, you don't have to if you don't want to, just don't. And then you can still buy your games the good old fashioned way that you're always champion on the internet.
Like, if you have Game Pass, once you buy Game Pass, you're no longer allowed to buy the game. Like, it automatically, it just blocks you. Like, I got Game Pass, I'll shoot.
I sold my soul to the rental gods of Microsoft. I can no longer buy another game for the rest of my life. Why did I make that decision? Oh my God. Like really? Like, okay, people, like, if you want to try it, try it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And guess what? We're eating fucking good over here at talking about Game Pass. Shout out to Free Bear, who earlier gifted us one Fun Speculation solo ticket to the speculation train. Choo choo motherfuckers. But then he went on to add 5 more. So we got 6 memberships in total gifted from Free Bear. Shout out to you. Appreciate you and for the support. Choo choo motherfucker. And here we go.
Choo choo. Ha 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 ha.
Indiana Jones there looking like, why is this idiot here? He sounds like one of these guys talking shit about
you
Xbox.
Think he'll be in the game for like 2 seconds. You'll be like,
that's it.
Immediately after that.
Choo choo. Speaking of Indiana Jones, it's just one more game that we actually have hitting. Guess what? Game Pass day and date this year here in 2024. Not 2025.
It's coming to PlayStation 6 months later.
Yeah, that's always said too with these things and the multi-platform thing. I understand it's a big deal for the industry and it's an industry change. It's a big deal for Microsoft, right? But guess what? I don't fucking care if you can play Indiana Jones on your PlayStation. I'm playing it this year on Game Pass. I'm playing it on my Xbox. I'm playing it on my PC. I'm playing it where the fuck I want because it's in Game Pass day and date in 2024. If you want to play it on PlayStation next year, cool. That's awesome. Guess what? You're buying a game that Microsoft's going to get money through, and you're going to use that money to fund more games going to Game Pass. That's just what's going to happen, and we're going to relish in that, because this month we got fucking Call of Duty Black Ops 6 coming next week. Then next month we have Flight Sim 2024, followed by Stalker 2, which is getting crazy glowing previews. I don't want to get my expectations up too high, but from these previews that we're seeing, and it's not just Jez, everybody, this is also lots of other people that have been playing it, saying that this could be like a special game, right? So we have Stalker 2 hitting November the 20th as well, and then we have Indiana Jones hitting in 2024. For some reason, the scorecards have already been turned in for 2024, though, it seems like. For some reason, hey, yes, 2024 sucked for everybody. 2024 was horrible. 2024 didn't give any great games. 2024 is horrible year. AAA gaming is dead. All this stuff. Well, I'm looking at these games coming around the corner. I'm like, holy shit! I'm already up to my knees in games that I don't have time to play that are amazing that came out this year. But also coming up in the next 2 months is like an insane amount of games that I don't know how I'm going to make time for everything. It's just pretty bananas. So 2024. Overall, Game Pass, I honestly could say that this is probably the best year for Game Pass by far. Would you agree with that, Fuzz, or am I reaching?
Yeah, like 2024, for me personally was an awesome year. 2025, I think, might surpass it, but I'm basing that even if Grand Theft Auto 6 gets postponed, I think 2025 will outdo 2024.
2025 is going to be, we're going to talk about that after. Like, this is going to be nuts, man.
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned with 2024, like there were some people like already upset about like potential games of the year nominees, which of course Astrobot, is probably going to be a shoe-in with the Keeleys. And I understand people enjoyed it, but it's not even charting anymore. Like, it was great for like a week on the charts, and it's not even charting in the top 25 anymore on PlayStation. So it's like, was it really that great, or did everybody buy it that was going to buy it that first week and now it's forgotten about, kind of thing? And if that's the case, did that thing even sell 1 million copies? Like, they didn't mention any numbers, which at least with the previous one that was a tech demo was included with every PlayStation 5 purchase. Maybe they should have included it with every PS5 Pro purchase. I don't know, but it just feels weird that, and I'm kind of in this mindset of I want to rant about PlayStation because, I always hear these concerned trolls out there that are concerned about Xbox, whether they have one or not. I actually have a PlayStation, and I'm concerned on how the battery life sucks on that built-in battery. Like, they supposedly improved the battery life or the battery size, I think, in the 30th anniversary controllers, which that's great. And maybe they improved the battery size, which I've yet to see like Austin Evans or any of them take apart a DualSense for for that $5 increase. Like, knowing Sony, they probably just charge the extra $5 just to make more money off of people. But if they put a bigger battery in there, that would be nice, and maybe somebody should take it apart to see if that's the case. Because as somebody that actually plays on their PlayStation, unlike a lot of these PlayStation faithful, with me having 3,000 plus hours in GT7, that controller only lasts 4 hours. And I bought a second controller because I put black panels on my PS5 to match the black controller I bought. I don't want to use the white controller anymore. Not to sound colorist or anything like that, but I wanted to keep that looking like its original self in a box. And I was forced to use it because the battery only lasts 4 hours. So I got to switch between the controllers in a day of playing GT7. And then
once I played Spider-Man, the same thing. Like, I played Spider-Man 1, 2, and by the time I got to like Last of Us, like beating all those games, the battery life was like destroyed.
Yeah. And then they got the stick drift, worse than I've ever had with any Xbox controllers. Like, I have probably 20 Xbox controllers. The red one I got stick drift, and I barely use that. That was supposed to be more for display purposes around the PC. And then I started using it for Undisputed, and stick drift, great. That's the only one I've ever had stick drift. And I've gone through 2 Elite controls, which I know a lot of people tend to have stick drift on those, but I think it just comes down to how much use you have with them. I've knock on wood, been fortunate with that, but the original DualSense I had, that thing had stick drift within, I would say, a month of me having the second controller, which I'm the only one playing my PS5, so why do I need more than one controller? But I guess between battery life and stick drift, I guess it's a necessity these days. I don't know if they're doing a GT8 or if they're going to, eventually push GT7 to PC. It would be nice. I think that would give a lot more lifespan to the game. I know it sold okay, not for what it should have been for a 25th anniversary copy, but it is what it is. But people don't have exact numbers because they mix those numbers up with Forbidden West to kind of, I guess, cover up how bad that game didn't move in comparison to, I guess, what was it? Zelda came out around the same time, which it seems like even when they do the remasters of Horizon, there's other big games that are in the way. So it never seems to get its own period to really shine as well. But I'm concerned of new IP. Like the only new IP this generation, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that Astrobot? Or am I wrong?
There's Returnal.
As far as first party, that was first party from start. I'm not going to count Returnal because they weren't first party when the game released and they became first party later. But was there any other?
I don't know who owns the IP, so I'm pretty sure they own the IP. If they own the IP, then like we could call it like that's almost the same to me as like saying Halo is not Xbox because Bungie wasn't owned by Microsoft before they started making it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I in that regard, like if they bought the studio and bought the IP, like
it's now theirs.
Yeah, it's theirs, right? Like so, and they invested in it during development and all that kind of stuff, right? So like I'll give them credit for like Returnal and
Astrobot.
I'm trying Destruction All Stars. Don't forget about that one.
Oh,
that's another hot IP. Right?
Oh, that's right. Concord was another new one, but we all
Concord.
See how that wound up.
Fair Games coming. I'm trying to think of them. Chat, if you want to help think of the first party IP. I don't think they own the rights to Stellar Blade. Or if maybe changing the name to Stellar Blade is why they could. I don't know. But, they don't. Okay, so and I'm sure they don't own the rights to Rise of the Ronin.
No.
So I'm stumped here, man.
So some games as a service were mainly their new IP, other than Returnal and Astrobot. So Fair Game, which hasn't released yet. Let's see if it actually makes it to the finish line. And Concord barely made it past the finish line. Like, yeah, I don't know. As somebody that paid $500 at launch for my PS5, I think honestly I would be more worried about that, considering the $500 I paid for Xbox and all the new IP that they have between now and next year, or that they've had up to this point, has been more than substantial as far as I'm concerned from first party. They put a lot of new IP from third party on there. Some of them even wind up day and date in Game Pass. So that saves me a ton of money and gives me an opportunity to test out games and enjoy them, before I have to put, cold hard cash down for them type of thing. And I don't know. This 2024 for me has been eye-opening in the regard between the two platforms. Own both of them. I try and support them as best I can. There hasn't been as much interest on the PlayStation side of things. Like the biggest thing that's been the most interest was the Ghost of Yotai being shown, which it almost feels like they had to show that to at least save face. It's a state of play. Typically, state of plays were supposed to be what you're playing in the next couple of months. And I don't think that's coming early 2025. So we'll see. But it just feels weird that they haven't had a true showcase, since the PS5 release, other than what maybe they had. What was it, a showcase for the Portal, or was that a state of play as well for the Portal? Does anybody remember?
They had a showcase last year. last year they had a show that they technically called the showcase. It was the show that we got Fair Games and Concord and all that stuff at. They were
where the portal was.
I think so.
That's probably where
I think it was at the end. I can't remember for sure, but that's the. Is that like one of the only showcases we've gotten this generation from PlayStation? Was last year's? Maybe we had one in like 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. But
I think we had one just before they released the PS5. But it's like
there's been a lot of state of plays and stuff, and they usually were focused on like, here's the Horizon Forbidden West state of play, or here's the God of War Ragnarok state of play, or here's the Spider-Man. You know, like it was fine. Like I have no issues with that. It's just that we were always hoping to get
a huge contrast to what they used to do, at least in first party.
Exactly, because they haven't had the pipeline though, right? They haven't had the content, so they filled it up with all these third-party exclusives and stuff. And some of them, the thing with those is some of them are going to hit, some of them aren't, right? And that's been the case for them. None of them sell as well as they should, right? None of them are selling as well as they should, and you can ask Square Enix about that. But yeah, and so but the ones that haven't hit don't get included when they count the games and all this stuff, like your Babylon's Falls and things like that. Like they're just forgotten about. Hey, this one never. Hey, look the other way. Foam Stars didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. But they'll hype up the ones that are obviously the bigger ones, like the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that, right? So overall,
they're not even calling for like the games from studios that haven't produced anything in a while, like Ben Studios. I know that they were relegated to being a support studio for a bit, working on factions, which won't see the light of day. It'd been nice to have a Days Gone 2, but I'm hearing they're working on a gas game, but what is it? When do we get to see it? Is it going to be a stealth drop kind of situation, or is it just something that they're going to wait until it's like ready to be dropped right then and there before they even talk about it, because they don't even have, faith in it. Is Cory Barlog actually working on a sci-fi game, or is it just rumor? It'd be nice to get some sort of something.
He's mentioned stuff about it before, but like the overall, like I think you can look at it two ways, right? This is what we predicted early on. Like PlayStation wasn't going to be able to compete with the same amount of spending that Microsoft had with fulfilling by acquiring all these studios, right? All these acquisitions that they were doing. And so what was PlayStation going to do to try and keep up with was just money hat more games. And they're even doing behind the closed doors type weird deals, like with Black Myth Wukong and stuff like that. Just always kind of their tactics and stuff, right?
I thought Bungie was supposed to be more valuable than Activision.
But like what Microsoft's thing has been since the Phil Spencer era, they wanted to invest in the IPs that they own more so. So that they did more acquiring, and they're doing less third-party exclusive deals, but they're doing third-party Game Pass deals, right? And third-party game and deals like that and all that kind of stuff. So for me as a consumer and my value, what do I get a better deal in? I get a better deal if a game comes to Game Pass, or if it's like going into the if I can buy it and it goes onto and I get access on PC and Xbox, right? And I don't have to make that decision. That's like another value proposition for me. The thing was, like, it took Xbox a long time to get their momentum going with the releases of all these studios, whereas PlayStation's model at the time was better for filling in the gaps, right? So, but now we're at this point where Xbox has all these fucking games, right? Not only do they still have tons of third-party deals and tons of second-party deals and games coming into Game Pass and stuff like that, but they also have this massive pipeline of games coming out. And like we said, like in 2024, later this month, we're literally having those 4 monster games hitting. And that's also, we've already had Age of Mythology Retold. We've already had Ara History Untold, right? These are just a few of the games that have come to Xbox this year. Plus also, you look at a lot of the third-party games that have hit, like Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess and stuff like that. It's just added awesomeness to the service. And so for me, I just look at it as like, I don't see the problem that a lot of people have with Xbox as far as games and all that kind of stuff. And it's only getting stronger. Look at 2025. It is going to be insane. They literally just announced a couple more games coming to 2025, coming into Game Pass, but also from different partners like Remedy. You had the Wuchang Fallen Feathers game is coming in Game Pass next year, but then you also have the games we already know about, Avowed, right? South of Midnight,
Clockwork Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution maybe hit 2025. It's looking even more promising for that, I think. Doom: The Dark Ages, right?
Yeah.
Fable.
Yeah.
All these are all games we already know about or are already slated for next year, and then they just announced other ones. Like, and people aren't really thinking straight sometimes when it comes to like looking at the content pipelines of what we have to look forward to on the platforms, when they're saying things like Xbox doesn't have anything, or like the gaming's dying on Xbox, or all these other kind of things. I'm like, Xbox today, compare it to 2019, is in such more of a better position, unless you're only focused on one thing: console hardware sales. They're basically the same boat they were then. And beyond that, as gamers, for us, look at everything we're fucking getting. And look at everything we already know we're getting next year and beyond and beyond. It is immense. So while Sony can't compete with that, they're going to keep doing the deals. And that's just what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's going to essentially, I think where the goalpost is going to kind of move a little bit is who has the best third-party deals.
No, 3 minutes already shifted to that, because that's
in a way,
that's what we see. Like when we talk about these games coming into Game Pass or coming into Xbox this year, it's like, but look at everything we already had this year. Look, we had Stellar Blade, we had
Rise of the Ronin,
Silent Hill 2, like Black. I mean, it's just like, yes, PlayStation
now
deal
is better than your third-party deal.
Right. But a lot of those games also, the third-party deals, most of them are also on PC day and date also.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So for me, I don't really care, because I have a PC, so I can play the games if I want to. But yeah, it has the only ones that's been an issue for me would be like the Final Fantasy games, but those are, I think, going to happen too. That says, but Mav, Chris String said third party will no longer support Xbox. Literally the week after he said that, we got shit tons of third party games announced coming to Xbox.
I think that was just before the Persona 3 thing being in Game Pass and whatnot.
Yeah, there was literally, he said that, and then there was like literally like several developers like, we love Xbox, like our games are selling better on Xbox, so like our here's more Xbox games we're doing. Hey, these games are coming to Game Pass. Like there was like several like immediately following that article. So I remember that article specifically because I found it hilarious that all of this happened on the heels, and that was because he spoke to somebody at GDC or Gamescom, or I think it was GDC, behind the scenes of some developer that worked for a very important third-party publisher that says they don't even know why they make games for Xbox. And it's like that headlines ran with that all over the place, and you like have all these games like being announced from all these publishers. And then that's also right before Square Enix was like, hey, we're going to start putting our games more on Xbox because guess what? We're not happy with them being exclusive on PlayStation as well. And then the same thing with what was the other game? I just got distracted because this guy that called me a fat bitch on Twitter is now in the chat. So shout out to you, man. You're amazing. Hey, love you for being here watching the show. Appreciate the view.
Yeah,
Anyway, Pong, what say you, man? 2024 Game Pass, do you think it's the best year?
I'd have to go back and look, to be honest. It's really tough to judge without looking at what actually showed up the previous years, right? Especially if we're just going to take, and obviously take out first party, look at third party deals, right? Oh boy, I don't know. We've had some good years, man. They pumped a lot in 2022, obviously, because they needed to. So they put a lot of money in 2022. It's got to be up there. I mean, I'm certainly not going to deny it. Like if I went back and looked and I was like, oh yeah, no, this year was, it wouldn't surprise me in the least because this has been a great year. But I think overall, the main takeaway for me is that no matter what's changed in the boardroom, and the decisions they're making, at least, with exclusivity and all that kind of stuff. What hasn't changed is their investment in Game Pass. A lot of people said that was going to also end. That was also going to die off, right? Because they had not hit the internal goals for Game Pass subscribers, because all that had slowed down, that they were going to stop investing in Game Pass altogether. And in fact, I think the investments have increased. Again, what did the reports came out? They're spending $1 billion a year now on Game Pass to feed it. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, that shows me that, again, that they, like we've talked about, that they are committed to Game Pass still, even if it hasn't done what they thought they could do, and even if it has caused them to look at changing, the business model, which obviously has happened. They still are a believer in it, like that it has the potential, that it is a great vehicle, that it is a great entry point, that it can sell people to come into the ecosystem and spend money there and spend their time there, which is what they really want now, is they want your time. So to me, that's all that really matters, is that we haven't seen a decline. I haven't looked and gone, oh shit, man, they're starting to backtrack on this. 'Cause you remember Games with Gold, right? Games with Gold, you saw the drop off, right? We saw the crash as it was coming to an end. It was right off the cliff, right? To most people. Again, I didn't mind. Free games are free games. I was like, whatever, just throw me some free games. I don't give a shit. But I know why people said that, because for a long time we used to get a lot of quality, and then you just saw it go right off the cliff. You've seen some of that happen over at Sony with PlayStation Plus. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying it just to say it. I'm actually saying that you've seen their people say, holy shit, man, we're getting some shitty ass games on PlayStation Plus each month, right? That they haven't been giving up to date kind of games. There's been a couple months here and there, but they've had a lot of bad months. For Game Pass, I got to say, we've been averaging probably 10 out of 12 months a year have been like good to great months in Game Pass. Even if you take out the first party stuff, there's only like 1 or 2 months a year where the majority of people will go like, they didn't do much for me this month, right? In Game Pass. So I think just that right there, the consistency has been through the roof for Xbox, and has continued. And I what we're seeing, they're already showing us shit for next year. We've already got some of the biggest third-party games coming into Game Pass next year, according to them already, right? So, 33 Obscura is going to be massive. This is going to be a huge game. It's already got a ton of hype. And it's got even more hype today because the developers came out and said it's 30 hours, double that if you want to do everything, but it's only $50 too. So that's going to be a huge game. But I think it's been spectacular. It's been a spectacular run for Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, this next few months, man, it's even getting crazier. Like, just leading up to this, plus all the other things. Like other games like Aura and Age, yes, they may not count for some people, right? But like for them to go into service that I'm investing in and just have them there is just adds to the variety, right? And this is on top of like, was it last year we got Age 4? And then the year before that, Age 2. So it's 3 years in a row we've gotten like Age type franchises and also and other strategy games now into Game Pass, which for me is awesome, right? Then we also have the other games that are hitting like Call of Duty is just ridiculous, So just this like amount of stuff, it just kind of like makes the whole conversations just really hard to understand sometimes, right? I can understand you saying, hey, there wasn't really anything for me this year, right? Yeah, I get it. Cool. You're not in those kind of games, right? But to say, wow, it's horrible, it sucks, there's a shit ton of like this gaming is dead, Xbox has nothing to play. It just like what? Like, okay, that's fine for you, but that's not necessarily the same for everybody. But also some are saying we can't even say that it's good, which is very strange to me as well. But yeah, 2024, I think Game Pass is for me the best year. Just overall with what we have to look forward to in this, and I think it's going to become more clear to people because I think a lot of people have trouble kind of looking ahead, and it's just about what's here and what's happened. But in the coming months, I think you're going to see people start to have this kind of realization after these games actually have dropped, right? Because it's like right now, it's still like they haven't done for me anything for me lately. But talk to me in December, after you've been playing Call of Duty, after you've been playing Flight Sim, after you've been playing Stalker 2, and after you've been playing Indiana Jones, right? Then talk to me then and say that they didn't have any games in 2024.
I mean, we know how it's gonna go. Like once Call of Duty drops, people will play it in Game Pass and play it whatever, and then a month will pass and be like, "Well, we play Call of Duty. What else?"
Yeah,
that's the conversation we could kind of predict.
It'll either be that, or they'll be like, "Well, how many subscribers did they add to Game Pass?" Oh, well, that was a failure. It's like, I don't know. Just play the game and enjoy it.
And it could be. I still have a hard time. The continuous obsession over Game Pass and Xbox in general is really strange. Like there you could have discussions about it. This has been going on now for 2 generations. I wasn't even around here in this community for the first generation, but I've heard that a lot of the same people were talking the same bullshit. But it's crazy to me that, especially people who've been in this industry, have played in this industry for a long time, like we have, some of us for decades now. Like, when you have a basic understanding, and I'm assuming you do when you're doing a show, a podcast, like why do you obsess over whether or not Game Pass is a success or a failure? Like, we have seen so many things, and I've made this point. I've been on these rants multiple times, but we have seen so many things come and go in this industry through all these decades. We've seen the industry collapse like multiple times, right? One time it was almost completely gone. And we've always seen it return. And we've seen it go up and down in the roller coaster, smaller dips and higher highs. But no matter who's tried to come along and change things, some of it stuck, some of it didn't stick. The industry just moves forward. And we as gamers move forward, and we all adapt. And this whole idea that Game Pass somehow is the ruination of this entire industry, and it is the cause for all the developer woes, as they are wont to talk about out here on all these shows and on X and stuff. It's so weird to me that these people consider themselves knowledgeable about this industry, and they spew this nonsense. Again, there's obviously a conversation to be had. You can certainly disagree and with the business decisions and Game Pass in general. You can say it's not a great business model or whatever. That's fine. But this continuous obsession over it and what it's going to do or what it's not going to do and how bad it's doing, and is this the end of Xbox? Blah blah blah. As I've always said, if it is, then what's it going to change for you guys? Zero. Oh, but the competition's not going to be there. No, listen. If you haven't realized that this isn't 30 years ago by now, I don't know what else to tell you. These companies are all doing things differently. Why didn't you bitch about Nintendo stepping to the side when they decided to go in a completely different direction with their business, right? Why didn't you bitch about them leaving Sony all alone with Xbox, right? That's not what any of this is about. You guys are fakes and frauds and liars. You all are. But at the end of the day, if Xbox fails and you guys all get what you want on the clown show side, Xbox leaving, and then you'll throw your arms up and you'll cry fake tears that, oh shit, now Sony's going to take advantage of this. They've been taking advantage of your dumbasses for a long ass time because you guys don't say shit out here, okay? But again, if Xbox goes away or if Game Pass dies off and we go back to a more traditional model, or maybe Xbox goes full Sega, it's not going to change any of your lives. It's not going to change any of our lives. Sure, there'll be plenty of Xbox fans disappointed, like I went through with Sega. There'll be a ton of people who maybe go, oh shit, now I really got to go play Nintendo or Sony. Yeah. Or PC. Yeah. You're going to have to go make a new decision if you want to keep gaming. I did. Right? Even though I already gamed on everything, I still was bummed when Sega left.
Dreamcast.
Yeah, I was bummed big time. But we all move on, and the industry is going to move forward. If Game Pass turns out to be a failure, you guys can all raise your glasses in celebration and say how right you were all along, and that you called this for over a decade. The failure of Game Pass was coming. You guys can do all that. You can take your victory laps. At the end of the day, it's not going to change this industry. Okay, it's not going to alter it in any meaningful way. It's going to be a speed bump at most for this industry, and everything will change. And then all of a sudden, everybody will adapt, and we'll all be back to just talking about what we should have been talking about from the very beginning, which is just the games, right? And that'll be it. And then a new competitor will enter the market, and Amazon and Apple, somebody will jump in to fill that role, as it always happens in this industry. And then we'll start this whole shit up again. That's the way it's always been. But this obsession over Game Pass and whether or not Xbox knows what they're doing, whether or not it's ruining the industry, it's not ruining the fucking industry. These devs aren't forced at gunpoint to join Game Pass. They are offered a bag of money up front. Sometimes it's the best deal for some of these devs. Sometimes it doesn't turn out to be the best of deals for these devs. But they all make the decision on their own. Nobody points a gun to their head and forces them into it. Xbox simply offers them another avenue to get their games in front of a ton of people in a subscription service, right?
You mean to tell me, Pong, that sometimes companies make deals with first-party publishers for some kind of thing that doesn't work out for them in the best interest of the company?
Like Square Enix and Sony's partnership.
I'm just saying, they get a bag of money.
It's a different way, Mav. It's just a different way. And
100%.
yet it can be just as bad for a company in some cases. Even with the most popular brand on the face of the planet, it could still be a bad deal, as we saw it is with Square. But again, they try it. And they weren't forced to do it. That was just upper management's decision. And that's the same way it is for Game Pass. And why this is all thrown out as if Xbox is forcing companies to buy into Game Pass, I still don't understand how you guys get away with telling your audience this bullshit and act like your audience is supposed to believe it. It's nothing but a circus clown show, and you guys just keep playing the part. It's weird to me, bro. It's really weird to me that this is even a conversation, because again, ultimately, we are all gamers. Ultimately, as long as gaming is still a big giant business, as long as there's gamers out there that are willing to buy this form of entertainment and this hobby, gaming will exist. Could it eventually become a really pricey hobby? Abso-freaking-lutely it could, right? But I ultimately believe no matter what, there are going to be game companies who want everybody to buy their games. So I ultimately believe that even if it does get your premium experiences, like you can go spend $3,000 on a GPU, there's going to be a cheap version as well for a lot of people to enter into this hobby and play games. Gaming will continue with Xbox, without Xbox, with Game Pass, without Game Pass, with Sony being exclusive, without Sony being exclusive, with Nintendo making Nintendo games or them changing too. It's not. The gaming industry will continue forward. We're going to have more changes, more shit's coming down the pipeline. AI is going to change a lot of shit. The digital age is still not fully in place. That's going to change a ton of shit. We could have somebody else jump into the ring at some point as well. We know there's some big companies out there. Expect it. The changes are going to happen. We as gamers, though, I can guarantee you, if you want to play games 20 years from now, you're going to be playing freaking games 20 years from now. Period, point blank. Shit ain't going to change or go away or disappear. That ain't going to happen unless there's a mass extinction that happens on this planet from someone, right? We're still going to be playing video games. So just, again, who cares what Xbox's Game Pass is doing? It's not hurting you. It's not changing a damn thing. I can argue all day long about how Sony's harmed the industry. I can argue all damn day about how Nintendo's harmed the industry, right? But none of those are anything more than speed bumps. And that goes for Game Pass too. God, sorry, I'm just full of rants tonight.
No, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Got me fired up.
Yeah, I was like, dang, preach it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll never understand just the mindset, or I completely agree upon just like how people get into that mindset of something we preach on all these shows, of just caring about things like, oh, but will it be successful as a determining factor of you investing into a platform? Like I can't personally get into that mindset. So it's weird for me to see that on different shows saying like, oh, I can't get into Game Pass because what if it fails and things like that. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, it has good value, but how can Microsoft sustain this? Like, it's just such a weird
how did all the members of Blockbuster ever keep watching movies after Blockbuster went away? How the hell did the members just move forward with their lives and continue to watch movies after they couldn't rent them from their favorite store anymore? Holy shit, man.
It's not a genuine it's not a genuine argument. Like I don't think, maybe they do actually believe this. I don't know. But I just picture like someone walking to Blockbuster and I'm about to rent a game, go to the counter and someone's like, no, you can't do that. Like you're renting games now. That's what you're doing. You're not actually gonna buy it. Like it's ridiculous when you put in any other context, or if you actually are explaining to people like what Game Pass is, what it values, as opposed to other people in the console space. And competition, I mean, we've seen this to Pong's point about generations of consoles and who enters the space and who leaves the space. We've seen generations of these consoles, this having really good competition with each other, that pushing the envelope of different feature sets or what they bring to the table. We've seen the Dreamcast, which was an amazing system at the time, push each other. So to kind of be in a mindset like, oh, we should leave the console space, I hate Xbox, blah blah blah. I'll never understand, because it's a sentiment that's also rippled not just through these podcasts that we're kind of referencing, but also the mainstream kind of shows as well. Like I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure it's actually already happened, where IGN will be like, yeah, Xbox should die, so we could just they could just be a third party publisher. They don't need to make consoles. They'll just die off, and we could just have Sony and Nintendo, and I'll be happy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these people out there are saying this, and I'll never understand that mentality. I want Sony to survive. I want Nintendo to survive, and Xbox, because they all push each other. At the end of the day, I feel like Xbox offers me personally the best value, but people love just playing on Nintendo. People love just playing on Sony. I love playing on Xbox, but I'm not going to go to Sony's like, wow, you're renting your games on PSN Plus, like, wow, so it is what it is. And
yeah, it's like pretending that there's like Xbox Game Pass warriors are like, you buy your games, what the fuck's wrong with you, man?
Sony's offering demos to people, like,
yeah,
it's insane.
There's like one thing we can guarantee about the industry 20 years from now, it'll be different.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we know going forward. And really, we see it change at times, right? When arcades changed, right? When there was a whole console crash, guess what? It resurrected with Nintendo and took off after that. Then we saw at one point, it was like every company under the sun wanted to get into the console business and make high-end consoles, and they all released for like ridiculous prices, and they all failed. But then PlayStation came and was like, hey, we got this, literally the industry changes all the time. We can always look at like, hey, remember how things were, Yeah, things were always different. That's really what we can look at. In the past, things were always different. When Xbox invented Game Pass and they put out Game Pass to really take the subscription model for gaming, for what it truly means to be a subscription service for playing games, right? Really like took off, and it became a phenomenon, and it still has a lot of subscribers. It's still growing. It maybe didn't achieve what Microsoft had aspirations to in its first 8 years of being in business, but they went and doubled and tripled down on it time after time. When people said it was going to cease to exist or fail, they added more and more content. And when everybody was saying that, hey, they just need to get rid of Game Pass and everything is going to be great, right? Remember, there's people were in the actual Xbox community were advocating for them to ditch Game Pass, and so we can just because Microsoft needs the money. They need the money. They need like some kind of consumer that's you're just start concerned about Microsoft? Like, I don't understand. But people were advocating for this. Like, I'm like, guys, like fuck, Game Pass is fine. So what do? They go out there and they double down and say every ABK game is actually, yes, it's going to Game Pass day and date, as well as every first party game. They went and they resold on the value proposition of what Xbox is with the cross-buy initiative, with having Play Anywhere now. Going into the next month, we're going to actually get the ability to actually play the games that we own if you have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription as well. So there's all these different avenues that are giving more value to me and more options to me. And guess what? I'm sorry if it means somebody on PlayStation gets to play Indiana Jones next year. I don't give a fuck, right? I personally look at my experience and at what they're doing, and it's only been amazing so far this generation and getting better. If you compare what they were doing this gen to last and the amount that they're adding in the pipeline going forward, it's astronomical from a first-party perspective as far as what they're doing. Last gen, they had to do the third-party money had deals like PlayStation's doing and getting praised for this gen. But they were criticized for it. Xbox was criticized for it. They don't make their own games. They don't grow them organically. They just go and they're gatekeeping games away from PlayStation gamers in order to bolster the artificial image that they have exclusives. It's kind of what the talking points were then. But now those same people are saying, well, hey, 2024 was best on PlayStation because they had a shit ton of third-party money-added exclusives. It just, you can't make this narratives up. The only thing that is true is things keep evolving and changing, and the businesses are still here. And Xbox, right to now, today, is in a million times better position they were in the business and in the industry, and as far as where they stand in the industry, than they were 5 years ago, than they were 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9. You could pick a year. Today, they're better off, right? And it's only going to keep improving. For hopefully, we'll see. You know what could happen in business.
Yep,
Things
it's gonna
go south, but it's going to be different. It's going to change. Me, I'm going to focus on what I get and my value as a consumer. And holy shit, the next couple months are going to be amazing. Yep. And they already are.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while it's here, everybody.
Yeah, because we in this future. Like we know the console market is it's an interesting market because it's the one that doesn't grow as much. It's kind of a stagnant number amount. I love playing on consoles, my main way of playing. But that is why all these companies are starting to venture out and start, like we've seen with Sony, for example, like with Helldivers too, putting a day and date, and Xbox being kind of the out of the big three, kind of the first one to kind of normalize first party releases, console and also PC day and date. Is this? I could see a future where Sony has its own store, and then you can play all the games through either their PC store or we'll see what they end up doing. But it's definitely going to be an interesting future. I could see companies not just investing in consoles as they have in the past. I could just see them kind of having that the Xbox kind of mindset of being like, we have an ecosystem and it kind of branches out. It kind of enjoy it wherever you prefer to enjoy your games. And we're seeing how beneficial that could be. Look at the top 20 most played games this month on a PlayStation. None of it, there's no Sony first party games, at least this month. There's no Astrobot. There's nothing, right? So the top most sold games right now on Sony for this month is Call of Duty, it's Fortnite, it's Grand Theft Auto, it's NBA. It's the same few games, like almost every single generation. So Microsoft is making that money over on Sony's platform, and it's a smart move business wise, because that means they could grow on what they conceive to be their competitors' platform. And I could see Sony trying to do the same thing eventually in a hypothetical future. I know they're a little stubborn in some areas, and other ones they're starting to alleviate their business sense a little bit. But I'm interested. I'm here along for the ride, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just don't know why people make such a big to do about Game Pass not being sustainable, but yet you never hear those arguments about Netflix. You never hear, I mean, you'll hear some financial analysts talk about it when it comes to shareholder stuff, but I guarantee most of these people aren't shareholders. And then when it comes to like the music industry, I don't hear people crying about, Taylor Swift being on Spotify now and not getting enough, money from the song streaming and stuff. So I don't understand why it's such a big to do in the gaming space as opposed to other subscription based things. I mean, a lot of people have subscriptions for all of these multi-streaming TV things where that was supposed to be the solution instead of cable. Well, it now looks like you're probably spending more than you were for cable. I just want, a la carte cable if they ever decide to do that here in the States, but apparently it doesn't seem like that's in the cards either. But for me, if Game Pass was unsustainable, I'm just going to enjoy it until the wheels fall off kind of thing. If I benefit and I save some money in the meantime and play these games, like I didn't complain while I was getting stuff from Napster. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that publicly, but it's not like, I was like, man, this is so damn illegal. I'm going to probably get, fined for this, or these people are going to get locked up for. No, I just downloaded the damn songs and played them or listened to them. That was it. I didn't care if they went bankrupt or whatnot. So if Xbox winds up going bankrupt, that's not my concern, because in the grand scheme of things, the shares I actually hold in Microsoft are still going to do well, whether Xbox is part of it or not. It just happens that they're doing fine, or even better than fine, with considering how big Xbox is becoming a part of, the Microsoft shares. But I'm not going to worry about somebody's sustainability bill. The closest time I'll worry about sustainability from something I'm invested in would be if it's house related and it's something that has a warranty, like maybe my furnace or AC or Havoc system or something like that, or my car. Like, if Honda all of a sudden decides that they want to start giving away cars for a low monthly fee or something, as long as my warranty is good for the next 3 years, after that, it is what it is kind of thing. I'm not doing the extended warranty. I'll just get a different car or whatever. But that's the only time I'm going to worry about a business doing stuff that could run it to the ground kind of thing, is if I have a warranty that I hope lasts as long as I use that product. But that's not the case with gaming. So it's like, it couldn't be me worrying about that stuff. It's more like me worrying about, okay, how much space do I have left on my hard drive? Oh man, they just announced 6 more games in Game Pass, and let me switch out the external card and put those 6 games on that. And oh, by the way, they have 5 more games I was looking to download, and I'm trying to play Dead Island 2 before it leaves the service kind of thing. So yeah, that's all my concerns. I don't know. Yeah, different priorities.
Yeah, if Microsoft loses money, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying, like they're not. First off, all the reports and the numbers that get released every quarter tell us otherwise, right? People focus on the year over years and stuff like that, which the whole industry has had ups and downs numerous times. But console hardware, yeah, that's where they've been faltering mainly. And it's about the same as it's been the last generation and the generation before that. Like, but we go into how much money they're making as a company. Like they are fine in numerous metrics across the industry, and they're still growing, and they're going to continue to do so. Game Pass is going to be a part of it. It's not going to be the only part of it, right? And I feel like that's what some people just equate that Xbox is only Game Pass now, or all that. I mean, guys, they have fucking so many monster games that are just ongoing juggernauts of revenue, just fucking monsters, and they added a shit ton more.
And I see like Age of Empires do really well on like mobile, or I seen something like that where it's like
Age in general is just a huge franchise, and it does very well across multiple platforms now. But it's also
franchises you forget Xbox just has,
Well, Age just had the mobile. Did the mobile launch happen this week? I think.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I actually updated my phone because I had pre-downloaded. I haven't played it yet, but yeah, it updated this week.
Yeah, I just seen something of it. They were like,
we found out that ESO is $1 billion franchise. So
Yeah, I mean, Fallout, ESO. I mean, like, there's just they have so many fucking monsters. So the concern is just really like it's not genuine if you actually understand what they have and what they're doing, right? But I think a lot of these people, they only see one thing. It's the old way of thinking, right? It's the old model of, hey, how many consoles have you sold, and how many exclusives do you have to push the console, right? And if that's your only metric of success, then Xbox is not doing as much as PlayStation and Nintendo, but because that's their models, right? Like, going forward, we're going to see Xbox continue to evolve beyond that, and they already have. ABK accelerated it immensely, but as a Game Pass subscriber, you're reaping the benefits more than anybody else probably from this, right? Because everything they're doing now, adding the ownership as well to the streaming, is just something that's awesome for me. But just every single metric across the board of what they're changing with the industry, it's something that you're going to see the other companies be able to do what they can in those same systems up to the ability that they have over the several years in the future. But at that point, it won't be looked at as taboo, or won't be looked at as bad, or won't be looked at as like something that's bad for the industry, or is it sustainable? People won't care or even have these talking points because Xbox will have already carved that path. And that's just the same way that they've done with numerous other parts of the industry in the past as well. But anyway, this was a fun show, guys. We can continue. This is like huge conversation forever. But yeah, I want to thank everybody here in the chat for hanging out tonight.
Yeah.
What were you saying, 3-Bit?
I was just wondering Pong's thoughts on the show. The preview show. I think he came in a little bit after.
Oh, on the preview show? Yeah, because Mav and I talked about it last night. So on the partner preview show, yeah, I gave it an 8.25. So
Nice. Okay.
8.25, I thought it was strong again. This was the one show. It's been a long time where I can't come out of it and say there was a lot for me in the show, right? That was the difference from a lot of their shows over the past like 2-3 years now. Like almost every show I come out of, I'm like, holy shit, I got like another 5-6 games there to play. This one didn't have that. Most of the ones that I wanted to play I'd already seen, like Mouse PI. That game's so stellar. But I still thought the show was great because, the other thing about me is that I don't hate games because they're not for me. So when I saw, Wuchang Fallen Feathers, that crushed. It's going to be a massive game. Souls-like fans, it's going to be really cool so far. Again, we won't really see it played, but again, just graphically, story-wise, what they presented was awesome. Yeah, I thought it had a great cadence. Again, Tina Meany and her team, they just know what they're doing. She's running master classes right now in shows. I really find very few faults at all. So, 8.25, solid show, man. Loved it.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
We got new games. We had new games announced. Again, a lot of them were horror and Souls, but I don't care. They were still new games that we had never heard of before. That was like, okay, what's this? Again, Bloober Team shows up with a brand new game.
That was crazy.
Silent Hill 2. I'm like, what? What are we doing here, Bloober? Awesome. Again,
Bloober and Remedy had brand new games.
And Remedy, yeah, exactly.
Bloober's starting to impress me. Yeah.
Bloober's living up to that praise I used to heap on him. I said they were up and coming, so it's good to see them turning in the corner. I think
Yakuza.
So you won't stream that horror game?
No. It's never happening. We were taking numbers. Somebody asked me in the chat last night how much it would take. So I said there's a price on everything, right? But yeah. It would be big money. It would be big money.
Wait, did you play Dead Space? That was a
I started playing the remake. I played the first one. Again, the older game. I played Silent Hill back in the day. I could play those back in the day. It's just the newer stuff. Dead Space. I started playing the new one. I think I can get through it because it's still like I'm used to the jump scares in Dead Space for the most part. This is a lot creepier, and the sound got even more intense. I wouldn't play with headphones this time around. That's for damn sure. I won't do that, but I think I can get through this one. But again, I had started it and I was like, oh God, this looks really cool. But a couple of the early stuff didn't bother me. I was kind of prepped for it. So I wasn't too bad. But no. Silent Hill 2 though, no, I'm not. No, I've seen what they've done to it. That's no. Phasmophobia, which was at this one for Xbox. Yeah, nope. Fuck off. I'm never doing it. I'm not. You can kiss my ass ever.
But that's with friends. Right?
I told Mav I was watching it. I was watching his co-stream at work, and I had to take my earphones out. I had to take my and I couldn't watch. I just focused on work until that was done, and I got home and I rewatched the whole show because I could only get to bits and pieces when Mav was co-streaming. And Phasmophobia came out, and I just fast forward right there. I'm like, nope, we're not even gonna watch this.
Phasmophobia that's multiplayer, right?
Yeah, you can do co-op.
You can do it with friends, right?
Nope.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope. I'd rather go into real life haunted house. I would rather go ghost hunting in real life than do that.
You would rather have people speaking through your speak. Oh, you probably missed that part.
No, I took everything out, bro. I'm not doing it. I just not. Like I said, I would go do I would do ghost hunting. I can do that in real life, but just on a video game, there's something about it, bro. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It freaks me out. So
you can do it. Just gotta believe. Gotta believe.
I don't want to. I got other games I can go play. I could play Souls-like games too, 3-bit. I could learn and actually put in the time and effort. I just don't want to.
Bloodborne was the easiest Souls game for me to get into, but it's hard for me to get into Souls games. That new game what was the Souls-like game at the showcase? Was that
Wuchang?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that very Soulsy?
Partner previews?
Yeah.
No, they've come out straight out and said it's a Souls.
Okay, then.
So they said it's fast paced, like Mav was talking about it, fast paced, but they came out flat out and said it's Souls-like.
Yeah, so I might not vibe with that one, but we'll see.
But Mav said it's not because it's got guns and flamethrowers and.
But they has a torchy thing that you can shoot spikes totally from, and
it's totally different.
I think it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how it is, but I'm gonna give it a shot because
no
it's
risk.
a Game Pass. Why not? Exactly.
I'll download it. Like I said, I did that with Liza P. I downloaded Liza P and tried it, so I'll download it and try it just to see it. Again, I'm happy for everybody because it's a gorgeous game. In the East, again, these developers come out of nowhere with these games and just show up, and they look better than 98% of the other games out there. It's stupid. I love this.
Yeah.
The way they do their graphics and that whole pipe. Yeah.
I just need one of these companies over there to make me an RPG, just straight up RPG in that style, and I will love that studio forever. Give me that one time.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
It will.
Sorry,
I'm just dragging this.
No, you're good. Shout out to everybody. Thanks for being here on tonight's Xbox Ultimate episode number 203. And we'll have more content coming this weekend. We're going to stream a couple games this weekend, and we'll have our regular shows Monday FSP, Thursday PM in the PM, Friday Xbox Ultimate again. But just awesome show tonight, guys, and thanks to everybody here in the chat for taking part in it. Fuzzy Belvedere, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
As always awesome being on here with you, fam. Awesome Friday, awesome conversation, awesome chat. Just love doing this stuff. Even if I had to give my little spiel or rant about PlayStation, but loving what we have coming to Xbox. It's just so much to look forward to. But for those who want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app, formerly known as Twitter, at @Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can see me and Pong and PTK Blam tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, PTK Blam's channel. Me and 3-Bit on Sunday at around 8:30 p.m. on Pixelated Echoes. And then Monday, Double Barrel Gaming for Xbox Lunch Break Special. And then later that evening for FSP at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see everybody there in the chat. Thanks again.
Thanks, Fuzz. And 3-Bit, what about you, sir?
Yeah, everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bit. I'm gonna post either tonight or tomorrow what I was talking about in the beginning of the show, where I'm hearing freaking voices through my speaker. Don't know where the heck it's coming from. So I was recording audio for something, and basically my mic stopped working, and then through the software I was recording in, the voices came through in the program, so you can hear it. So I'm just gonna post that just so see what the heck is going on. Pong missed that whole section.
Is this a Halloween thing here? Are we doing?
It's not.
Yeah, whatever.
It just happens to be.
This is some fucking Gen Z bullshit. I know what you're doing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Listen,
trying to go viral with some. Oh, look what happened. These scary voices started coming through.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up.
It just so happens to be right before Halloween, guys.
The timing.
Have you guys checked out my new video?
Take it, Pong. No, if anyone has had that problem where random radio frequencies coming through your speaker, let me know. If not, then I don't know. But you guys can find me on Twitter at i3bit. We got Pixelated Echoes coming up Sunday, 8:30. Me and Fuzzy just going through it. And man, what else is coming up? I posted a couple just random things like Sketch 2. If you guys seen that was a Halo montage I did years ago. It's the anniversary of that, so go check it out. Other than that, great show, y'all. It's always a pleasure doing a show with Pong and Fuzz, and of course you, Mav, everybody in the chat. You guys are killing it. We got to rant on PlayStation a little bit on this episode, but really it was our rant on the kind of the people in the podcasting space a little bit too. So a little fun. But no, appreciate it, everybody. You guys know we love doing this stuff. We love talking games at the end of the day. Don't always get to do it with our significant others or other people out there. Just be like, hey, this is what's going on in the industry. They'll be like, okay, like what the heck? So we know it's niche, but we appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye, y'all.
Right on. Over on Twitch, Polar Knights is calling out your dagger shirt, saying, "Of course it's Gen Z."
That's funny. It kind of looks like a NASA / Starfield.
Yeah, it's got the old school look to it.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's funny.
And what about Pong Soul?
Hey everybody, sorry I was late tonight. Glad I could still jump in here, and came in with the rants tonight. I wasn't expecting to do that, actually. I was happy to get in here. I didn't know if I was going to actually make it. I told Matt I was going to be late, and then time just kept ticking away. But I was just happy to be here. But it was great to jump in, get some passionate conversation tonight about some topics. And chat, you guys are always amazing. You're always showing up here on Friday nights for us. So appreciate that so much. You guys were having some cool chats in there too. So love you all. Thanks for a great Friday night, brothers. It was awesome. Again, 3-bit, anytime I get to a podcast with you, you know, brother, it's special nowadays because you got so much going on in real life. So, and Fuzzy, I don't know where you're at. I don't know why you're off camera, where you're locked up in, if you're in chains, if you're got the gimp mask. I don't know what's going on, but man, I'm glad you're here, Fuzz. And man, it's always great to be with you. And of course, Mav, great to have you in the lead chair. So after last night, we had a great conversation last night too. Listen, y'all, you know how to find me, Pong Soul on the X, formerly known as Twitter, Pong Soul on Xbox, Steam, GOG, Epic, you know. Follow me, I'll follow you back. No living split screen tomorrow morning. Steele put it out today. He's got stuff going on for the next 2 weeks. So no living split screen this week or next week on Saturday morning. We are talking in the background. We may try to do an early Sunday show before ILP to get some talking in. Because obviously, you know how much Steele and I miss you guys when we can't talk on Saturday mornings when we got stuff going on. So we're talking about that. Nothing's set in concrete stone yet. We should know by tomorrow night, and then we'll let everybody know that if we're going to do that. Otherwise, you might catch us streaming some games at some point to kind of make up for it as well. But no living split screen tomorrow morning or next Saturday. So enjoy your morning. Plenty of other shows. Go check out the Gaming Circle podcast if you don't already. Those dudes over there, our two brothers, Kay Asante and Everborn, are just freaking awesome guys. And so go check them out. But tomorrow night, I will be on the Shop Podcast PTK Blam's channel. That's right. It's Blam. It's Fuzzy. It's myself, and who's our guest tomorrow night, Fuzz?
I don't know if we have one yet.
Did he not announce one? He said he was going to have a guest or two, but I guess he didn't put up a name, did he? So we usually have a guest or two, but check out the Shop Podcast, the best way to end your Saturday night. That's right, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, PTK Blam's channel. Be there. Have us on in the background. We're playing some games. Next week, it starts all over again. You know you got to check out every Tuesday for all good things green on the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm not there, but it don't matter because it's Double Barrel Gaming, the channel. Boomstick, the man who is checking out Indiana Jones right now, by the way. Shout out to Boom getting flowing down there. He's big league now, right? He got called up from the minor leagues. He's hanging out with the big league boys, getting paid to go out by Bethesda. Go check out Indiana Jones, lucky bastard. I'm sure he'll have a lot to talk about on Tuesday. Probably most of it under NDA, but Boom's going to smile a lot and say it was a good time. So be there on Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time every Tuesday. And then Thursday, God willing, I'll be back here with this dude, the one and only Mav, for Thursday nights, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Listen, y'all, it's a golden age of gaming. Don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't let anybody tell you anything different. And if they do, mute them, block them, and kick them out of your life because they are just energy demons. This is the golden age of gaming. Get out there, play what you love what you play. Have a great start to your weekend or continuation if you're already in your weekend over across the pond. Love you all, and we'll talk soon tomorrow night. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Thank you, sir. Everybody, you rock. I hope you all have an amazing night. And like I said, we'll have some streams this weekend. So look forward to that notification on Twitter. Also, if you hit the notification bell here, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, you'll be able to find out when we go live as well. So shout out to everybody. Also, audio listeners, hey, thanks for all the support over there on audio as well. If you like the show on audio, leave a review. Let us know what you think. It greatly helps people find us that way also. So shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Peace out, everybody.
Later.